Welcome back to another Education Expedition, where we celebrate the stories of resilience and innovation in Oregon schools. Today, we're spotlighting Alsea, a small district that turned community doubts into pride with a new vocational tech building. This success story is a testament to what's possible when determination and community collaboration come together. Let's dive in and see how Alsea is setting up their students and their school for a bright future.
I want to say it was like 2.5 million with the matching grant. And then we had to whittle it down for this one building. But again, that priority came about from after the previous administration had transitioned out. The district hired IMS, which is Chris and Nancy Gigi, to come in, and they did a lot of work with all the stakeholders, students, teachers, community, to say, okay, now we have this money, really what is our priority? And so that's how the CTE building came about. We'd run this bond and gotten the matching awesome grant, but as the planning went forward, it soon became apparent that all this laundry list of things that wanted to get done was not going to be able to get done in the amount of money. And so the obstacle was, okay, how do we get what we need, what was promised in some capacity within the budget we ended up having? And that was a huge piece. We spent pretty much all of last fall really looking at, we know we have this, we know we want this, how do we make sure we can kind of bridge that gap between budget and vision?
This was an interesting project because it had been floundering for a couple of years, and we were asked to come in and help them get it back on track. One of the things that we struggled with was there were already contracts in place that we couldn't affect. So we were working with an architect and a construction manager, construction company that we didn't already have a relationship with. And there were challenges with both of those. In part of going back, getting it back on track was going through the normal ORS process to get an architect and a contractor on board, and then writing the contracts to get them tight and something that everybody could agree to and that we knew was going to be successful. This district did what I consider to be a great process, which was the superintendent, the current superintendent, and the current school board got together and said, what are the funds we have available and what are our top priorities? And then when they hired us, we came on board, got their list of priorities, and then we expanded what they wanted by bringing in the other stakeholders in the school district, the CTE teachers. What did they need? That kind of thing. And that helped us really refine the goals and the vision.
My number one advice is don't do it by yourself. You need to go find yourself a great project manager. I've been in small districts where the project managers were the school district or the ESD, and I don't think that really we got a bang for our buck. And so finding those people who know how to navigate construction laws and building codes and all those different pieces is huge. But having them be there actually takes a lot off my plate, so I can focus on being a district leader and not being a district leader and a construction manager. I think as a small school district superintendent who also has other duties like a lot of us do, that was really helpful because that was part that I didn't have to really figure out. I could really then focus on my duties as the superintendent and as the principal. And then also having a business manager who has done these things before, because now we're like, they're double checking. He has that knowledge and he has that insight of who to go to at ODE. But then Nancy and Chris have that knowledge of those laws that we need to follow in order to get, to do the proper thing. So we're getting the right construction company and permits through the county. This hole in the ground for a year and a half. And so people had passed this bond, which was passed by, I think, 5 votes. And were promised these big laundry list of things. And the only thing they were seeing was this hole in the ground. And so, obviously people are saying, like, how is our money truly being spent? And was it worth us increasing our taxes when you just literally saw this hole in the ground? And so it was hugely important. The board and the previous superintendent and Nancy and Chris had actually, one of their priorities was to be as transparent as possible with our community, which, like I said, they were very communicative. I'd get emails. We'd get like weekly summaries of what was happening in construction. They did monthly monthly reports for our community. So we would actually put them on our website, and it would also go for our board meeting. And so, I mean, in those monthly reports also included the budget. So it was never, we wanted to be as transparent as possible. So if anybody had questions about how the money was being spent, they could actually go and look at the budget.
As you know, any public funded project, particularly with the school districts, has to be transparent. And so we keep very clear records that are accessible to people at any time. The school district always has access to all of the records. And we keep complete records that we can return to the district at the end of the project. In the interim, we do a site observation report every week to show the progress. And then we do a monthly report that's presented to the school board and anybody who listens in, so they know exactly where all the projects stand. And then we also do updates on social media, on the school's website, and with the local newspaper.
You know, we're trying to add things in. And so the program that we currently have, our CTE program, which we just got last year, approved through ODE, is in agricultural and natural resources, but we're trying to add in things like CAD and robotics. So it's not just about this little ag natural resources. We're trying to expand it so that we have welding. We really have tried to use our SIA money to not only buy equipment that will help us with the CTE, and then, you know, also the Carl Perkins money, but that also can be used for multiple different things. I think in a small district, if you pigeonhole yourself into one CTE program, you're missing all these other pieces. And so we're trying to say, okay, so we have ag and natural resources, which, you know, we bought a mill. So we have, one of the things that we actually had to do during our ice storm last year is one of our big trees fell. And so we had somebody come and cut it up. So we have the wood, so we want to mill it so then we can create our own wood for projects. But it's about all these different skills we can teach kids that they can take out into the world. You know, we have the space, but it's hard to keep up facilities, especially in this day and age, with our existing budget that we get from the state. And so being able to build something new for kids that is, and even our community, that is really state of the art, that gives us enough power, enough space, enough places for kids to really expand their knowledge, for us to expand our program, I think is really going to do the world. Like, just give them the opportunity to feel like they're like their peers. Mm-hmm. You know, when you talk about the bigger districts, they have these CTE centers where you can come from all around, you know, Salem, and you have this big center where they can do culinary or auto mechanics, and small schools don't have that just because we don't have the capacity to do it. And so when you can get these new buildings that you can have this same space, I feel like our students now feel like they're getting the same opportunities. Mm-hmm. The size of the school shouldn't matter about the opportunities. I think opportunities are anywhere, and that small schools just have to think a little bit out of the box to give their students opportunities. And my hope is that this new building will allow us to think more outside the box, to bring in what students in Corvallis or Albany or Salem or Portland have, and bring that to our students. We're going to look at our graduation rates. We're going to look at what our post-secondary opportunities that our students take. I think we do a disservice as a state by measuring college going, mm-hmm. because college isn't for everybody. But we can measure if our students go out and get welding certificates, mm-hmm. or get welding certificates out of high school to go and have those jobs, or, you know, being able to get whatever certificates. And I think I think that's the success. It's not about what's our college going rate. Right. It's about what are our students doing after? And sometimes that's not measurable, but that's okay because we know what they're doing, especially in small schools. Mm-hmm. I am excited to see our programs grow, and I'm excited to see our kids be able to show our community and our region what they can do. Because I think sometimes we don't give students enough credit. And so I'm excited for us to go out there and show our community, our region, and even the state what Alsea students can do.